Hi, my name is Hannah Cooper, and this is my signature video. It is focused on young Black boys and men in Seattle Public Schools in King County and their academic excellence and attainment through abolitionist systems that need to be brought into the public school sphere. Throughout the presentation, I have included illustrations from the picture book I Am Every Good Thing by Derek Barnes and Gordon C. James. This book exemplifies what young Black joy looks like and what we need to be celebrating in our classrooms every moment of every day. Here's a clip of the book being read.
I'm a go-getter. I'm the perfect beat and the perfect rhyme. I am victory. I'm that smile forming on your face right now. I am real. I am brave. I am hope. I am worthy to be loved. I am every good thing.
Here's the focus on my community. My signature focus has been the community of Seattle and King County, Washington. I was able to delve deeper into the racial wealth gap in the region to see in which ways public schools contribute to the systemic oppression of Black Seattleites. In King County, as early as kindergarten, the gap begins. Only 40% of Black children are ready for kindergarten compared to 58% of white children. This preparedness gap is intensified in schools when, according to a 2016 Stanford data analysis, the white-Black achievement gap in Seattle is 3.7 grade levels starting in third grade. That gap continues at an even pace until about 11th grade. Speaking with Dr. Mia Williams of the Office of African American Achievement for my interview, it became clear to me that since the findings of the data were released, Seattle Public Schools has made a conscious effort as a community to uplift young Black boys and men in educational success, starting with the group that is most marginalized by Seattle's racial wealth gap. The Office of African American Male Achievement is leading a district-wide effort to educationally empower these Black males. The problem is educational opportunity and resources are disproportionately unavailable to African American males in Seattle Public Schools, as well as King County. Building systems that support these learners and contribute to their educational growth needs to work hand in hand with abolishing the oppressive systems that do damage the same population of kids. School discipline is an example of this. In King County, discipline disproportionately punishes Black students over white students for the same exact infractions. Black students need love, comfort, and culturally responsive teaching to reach their educational potential. Lecture-style classrooms in which students are taught to test does not reflect the cultural lives of many Black children. To focus on the success of specifically these learners, we must differentiate instruction in a way that encourages their learning from kindergarten onward. The possible solutions is a very simple one. The solution is to put teachers of quality that truly love and invest in their Black students without bias into elementary classrooms first. At school from a young age is transformational. If those teachers of quality are also Black, then the learner's likelihood of long-term academic attainment skyrockets. A long-term study of same-race teachers in North Carolina showed that for Black male students from low-income families who were introduced to at least one Black teacher between 3rd and 5th grades, the probability of them dropping out of high school fell to 39%. Since the majority of Seattle teachers are not people of color, another solution, besides obviously hiring more teachers of color, which actually Seattle Public Schools it has been doing steadily since the 2016 data came out, would be to loop grade levels with the same educator. This intentional looping is particularly beneficial for young male students of color. A recent study on loop teaching found 3 metrics. Repeat teachers improve student test scores in math and reading, decrease absenteeism, and decrease suspension in grades 3 through 11. The improvements in absenteeism and suspension are driven predominantly by the benefits to male students of color, and traditionally looped classrooms are rare, though students benefit from repeat teachers even when the repetition isn't planned. Looped teaching fights against some systems used to oppress Black boys in school by strengthening relationships with quality teachers and creating safe spaces to grow and to be themselves without over-disciplining. The ideal looped grade innovation would be a teacher continuing with the same students, kindergarten through 2nd grade, and a different teacher would move through with a new from 3rd grade until 6th grade. Teachers would be able to collaborate more as well as differentiate and build innovation back into their curricula. The feedback I received for this innovation was positive. I spoke at length with my father, who was a repeat teacher in a Title I school when he was young. He was young and I was young. He taught a 4th and 5th split class where he continued with the same group each year. His feedback was positive and helpful from a perspective of teaching English language learners where consistency is paramount. In this problem as well as solution, I am an educator who is focused on abolishing systems of oppression in the classroom and community, that do not serve my Black, Indigenous, and all students of color. The lack of culturally responsive systems and curriculum in local schools is a problem that leads to racial gaps in educational attainment. When school systems have built-in equity, Black students are afforded resources and educational opportunities they would otherwise be excluded from. As a white educator, my job is to create a safe, loving environment where my students of color do not fear discipline or failure. My role is to advocate for the lifelong success of my learners, as well as to acknowledge their personal histories in my teaching. Teaching with anti-racism is using historically and culturally responsive teaching to fuel the Black and brown excellence in my classroom. The proposal is what communities can do to abolish these attainment gaps in education is to support positive change. Supporting structural change within school systems, giving trust and powers to teachers of quality, breaking down bias, and adopting an anti-racist, culturally responsive teaching can solve some pervasive community problems. I should say generational community problems. By standing with educators who are calling for change, communities can show support to learners who need different systems to prosper. If looped grade levels were adopted in Seattle or any urban school district with racial attainment gaps, there would be gradual increase in African American male engagement from a young age. Building strong commitment and comfort into the first 3 years of school builds confidence that is continued until graduation. By empowering our youngest, most marginalized learners with the tools to be successful and quality educators who love them and will back them up, African American boys and men will feel free to let their brilliance show in every school space. Thank you.